Okay, thank you for joining us here today. Mediation is a process for resolving disputes where an intermediary helps conflicting parties have a conversation to jointly resolve their concerns. So hopefully that's what we can do today. All right.
Hopefully.
We'll see. Okay. So, Mrs. Anderson, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. I'm sure there's a lot on your mind.
Of course.
And Mrs. Smith, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
All right.
So, first of all, we would like to start out with Mr. Anderson since he was the one who had complaints.
Okay.
So tell us your story, background of what happened.
Well, I've lived where I lived for 15 years. I have 3 beautiful children. And basically we live on the outskirts of town. It's more modest where we come from. We don't really have luxury vehicles. It's more community-based, and it's just quiet and easygoing and slower paced, less city influences. And yeah, like our community is tight-knit. We come to barbecues together. It's just a fun place to grow up and raise family. And like I said, I have kids, and they're really into BMX bike riding. Like, they're really good at it. And then they showed me that they're really interested in motocross. And so I was just like, you know what? There's free land, just a huge lot of land, and basically around our town, everyone has like huge acres of land in their backyard, just like free. We really don't cross on people's yards because it's like our land. So I was just like, me and my husband decided that we would build a dirt track for their motocross, and I found out that they're actually really good at it. Like, they picked it up really fast, and so like I said, it's easy for me to watch them because it's right on my property. It's like right next to my property, adjacent to it, and it's just a huge lot of land. It's just 1.5 acres, so it's far enough that I can see them, but it's also close enough that I can see them. And then I get a phone call from her. And normally we really haven't talked. Like, they keep to themselves, and I don't know why. They're just really out of place, honestly. Like, they definitely don't belong. They don't really get to us country folk and their city folk attitudes. They're just always washing their luxury cars, and they just keep to themselves. And that's just weird to me, but whatever. So they called me, and they said, you have 20, they told me, they didn't announce it to me, they told me like I was a child, that I have 24 hours to debuild my track, to put it down, because it's against code violations. And I was unaware of such code violations because where we're from, if we want something built, we build it, because there's not really police interference or city regulations around our land, because it's ours, and a lot of people don't come to our land unless you're there. So that was weird. You can say that wasn't a really good phone call because I don't like being told about something that's benefiting my kids. So then, let's say 2 days later, I get another call from the city officials talking about code violations, and they came out and started taking pictures of my land. And it was really weird because after that, I didn't hear from them. So I was like, okay, I guess they don't really care. Like, back on, my kids are still driving on the land. They're still dirt biking. The neighborhood kids are still coming around. And then I see her taking pictures of my kids. Just standing there taking pictures of my kids, which is weird. And they're taking pictures of my daughter, and she's not even dirt biking. And I'm just confused as to why she's taking pictures of them. I don't know what she's using them for. She could be using them for voodoo purposes. I don't know what she's using those pictures for, but that's weird, and that's out of the norm, especially for our town.
So, Ms. Anderson, when you say voodoo purposes, you mean something
I just think
left field out
yeah,
there?
completely left field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you take pictures of your kids?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any kids, so maybe they're making dolls out of my kids. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
But
Mrs. Smith?
it's
Yeah,
ridiculous to
talking
taking
about
pictures.
pen and paper. Speak your mind out there, and we will.
Yeah, I'll take some notes.
It's just ridiculous, and I'm still confused because I've never heard of such code and regulations, and you're taking pictures of my kids because what? That's an invasion of my privacy. I can sue you for that. So, I'm here to follow a restraining order on her, so she can't come take pictures of my family. Because if she does it again, then I'll have to step up, and it won't be pretty. And that's about it.
Alright. We understand your story very well, and we want you to know that we understand your concerns and your needs also. And Mr. Smith, if you would.
Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, Ms.
What do you
It's Mrs. Smith.
If
Thank
you
you.
will.
My husband
please.
isn't here today, so thank you.
Mhm.
And that is not it. There's more to the story. So, my husband and I have been working for 40 plus years, and we decided to retire, be a little selfish, and get away to like the country, you know? We were a nice country estate, and we just wanted to get away, a little peace and quiet. Like she mentioned, it's supposed to be peace and quiet. Didn't last very long. So one day, I see that they've built a track, and not only did I see it, but I heard it all day, all night. And it wasn't just her children, it was her children's friends and friends of friends. And it just kept increasing. So one day, we just had enough, and I gave her a call, told her that if she couldn't do it respectfully, then maybe it should just be taken down. I don't understand what the problem is. It was loud, it was messy. Teenagers were coming over at all hours of the day and night, leaving their trash everywhere, more traffic. This just completely ruined everything that we had planned for our retirement. Like, we're retired, you know? We're supposed to just be done dealing with all this crap, all this hillbilly crap. It's been too much.
Mrs. Smith, when you mean hillbilly, how do you mean by hillbilly? Is
I
it a
mean-
way of life or lifestyle?
I guess it's their lifestyle. It's whatever they're doing. It's dirty, and they wear these disgusting overalls, and their children are just running around like maniacs.
Mrs. Smith, I'd hope that you could refrain from making any.
Well, I'm just calling it like I see
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
You're calling me.
Calling it a hillbilly.
I'm calling you a rich, stuck-up,
just
prude.
because I own a Mercedes.
And you
So-
shouldn't be living here. If you're
So-
gonna live here, you should adapt
I have
to
the
our
right to live
culture.
wherever I want.
And then you have
Just
the
because
right
I
to
don't
listen
go to
to
your little
motocross.
barbecues or
Mrs.
your
Anderson,
community
please.
yard
This
sales.
is Mrs. Smith's turn.
Yes,
and
She
If
has
you
the right
will,
to listen to this
can you
motocross.
please-
I'm just saying.
if you will, can you please
This is-
expand on the term hillbilly,
Okay.
but in a respectful manner, please?
As much as you can.
As much as I can. I just mean the dirty lifestyle that they live. It's disrespectful, and all they think about is themselves. They're inconsiderate to their neighbors. I imagine the other neighbors probably don't enjoy the loud sounds either. It's obnoxious. There's fumes everywhere. I've actually been prescribed, my husband and I have both been prescribed promethazine to help us breathe at night.
You guys are weak.
Because we can't breathe because of your fumes that your dirt bikes are kicking
Because
up.
you guys are weak city folk. I'm
It
surprised
seems
you're
so
not.
disrespectful.
I'm surprised that's not from all the fumes from the city.
Mrs. Anderson, pen and paper.
Yeah, pen and paper.
Fumes
Okay. Anyways,
from
so I gave him a call.
city.
They completely disregarded my phone call. So then I called the county to see if they could take care of it. Okay,
Snitch.
there has to be some sort of
'Cause
violation
you're a
there.
snitch.
I follow rules and
Mrs.
regulations.
Mrs.
They do this
Anderson,
rules and
please.
regulations.
That
That's
doesn't
all
look like
I
rules
I
and
use a
regulations.
small.
You built your own
I
track.
used a
Your
small
own track with
a
dirt.
small
That doesn't
portion of
count.
land
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with any other
Anyways.
person's
Alright.
land.
So I called the
Guys.
county officials. They came over.
Ugh.
They took a look, you know.
Didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Okay, both of you.
And two
Please.
months later, nothing
think-
happened. Here she is
No,
taking
no.
pictures.
I
Not
think
only-
it's a good time to talk both of you individually now, since
I don't think
this
it's a good time.
conversation.
She needs
I
to
didn't get
hear
to
what
tell my
I'm-
whole
She
story.
needs to hear my laugh.
I mean, if you want to hear my whole story, that's fine.
Of course.
Let her
We're gonna-
finish
we're
her
gonna-
stupid story.
we're gonna-
I don't care.
Okay, Mrs. Anderson, so she finishes her story, we need you to
Of
remain
course.
quiet, please.
Sure.
And respectful.
We want to give each of you enough time to
Thank you.
speak their mind,
Yes.
so we can
Go
resolve this
ahead.
matter.
All right. Well, if anything, the noise and the dirt and the trash seemed to increase after it was brought to her attention that it was kind of bugging me. It was like she was doing it just to be out of her way, inconsiderate. You know. So instead of solving any problems, I first tried to respectfully ask you to limit the track to just your sons. then I had the county officials go over and see if anything was being violated. It wasn't, but they said if it continued on the way that it was going, then it would be a violation. But they put me in charge, and that's the reason I've been taking photos. So it wasn't like I was just taking photos.
I'm sorry, do you have a state official license?
Oh my.
Or are you just...
You can call them.
Or was
and
your
ask them.
old job
They told me
being a
to go
private
take photos.
investigator?
They told me to go take photos. I was just following the law.
Really?
Mrs.
I
Sanders
think you're
just
doing
told
It's
us
the
a
law.
story right
It
now.
happened 2 months after they came,
It's
and
like
then 4 months
I
later
was
there's a
just
camera
following
always in my
county-
face like I'm the paparazzi, like I'm Lady Gaga or something.
county officials told me that they were understaffed, so they told me to document.
For how long? Not for 6 months.
They told me to continue. They told me to continue. Even after they came over to your house, they said, keep documenting. And then we'd eventually get to it.
It's over now.
Although, they haven't even taken care of anything, you know? Like,
Exactly,
I
so I think you should stop. Don't you think you should stop if
They
if
told
they
me
haven't
to
done
keep going.
anything?
I believe she's almost done with her story
I'm
herself.
almost done.
We can have her finish up and
Thank
we
you.
can
Jeez.
reflect on any other
Anyways,
feelings.
so
How would you, so Mrs. Smith, how would you describe the phone call initially? to
well, it
Mrs.
started
Anderson?
out okay. I asked if they could just limit the track use to just their sons, certain hours of the day, like, normal people would do. Normal people.
We're
Respectful,
normal. You're the
considerate.
weird ones.
I'm the weird
You
one.
guys are antisocial.
Because I'm not a
You hope
hillbilly.
something Stick up your.
It's because
stuck
I'm not
up
a
your
hillbilly.
ass.
Because we're from the city. We're city slickers and not hillbillies.
Yeah,
Is that
Exactly. We're not hillbillies.
See?
This
We're
is
already
just a
discriminated
small
against.
rural
This is
town.
discrimination.
You're discriminating against us, calling us hillbillies. We're not hillbillies.
All right.
We don't
All right.
have missing
All right,
teeth.
Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. Smith,
Okay, fine.
we're going to have some one-on-one talk with you. Of course,
That
like it'd be
sounds
time
great.
for everyone to kind of cool off.
That would be
Yes.
And-
I don't want her
That's
Starbucks and her fresh manicure to get in trouble over here.
And since Mrs. Anderson seems to have a lot to say, we will get all out of her system first. Then we'll talk to you. So if you will please step out the room.
Please.
Ms. Smith
Don't
will
let
have
the
you
door
join us
hit
shortly.
you. Where the good Lord splits you.
If I'll help walk you out.
Thank you.
Alright,
Okay.
Mrs. Anderson.
Whew.
Let's.
She almost jumped over that table.
Of
That's a
course,
good
of
thing
I
you
would show her what a hillbilly was.
Of course. But let's take this step by step and pretty slowly, if you get what I mean. So
Right.
please, can you explain? What her documenting of you is like?
It's invasion of privacy. I feel like she's the paparazzi and I'm a celebrity.
Of course.
There's always a camera in my face, and this has happened 6 months after it was built.
6 months
Like, this
after.
is going on 6 months after it was
Mhm.
built. I have not gotten code violations. I have
Nothing
not
from the
got
city? No
Nothing
word
from
from-
the
okay.
city. No word. So
Mhm.
obviously, I'm not in the wrong.
Mhm.
They just told me about it. They never told me to put it down.
Mhm.
They never told me to demolish it.
Right.
And 6 months later, we're still riding a dirt track.
Between those 6 months, was there any communication with you and Mrs. Smith, or was it only from
No,
what you've seen?
it's only from her taking pictures of me.
Okay.
But I know she did. My kid did tell me. My 8-year-old kid did tell me when he was riding his
Mhm.
bike. She said, "I hope nothing serious happens to you." That was a threat.
Is that how you perceive that?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope nothing serious happens to you. What are you gonna do?
Mhm.
Are you gonna cut the brakes off his bike?
Okay. So Mrs. Anderson, as you can see, Mrs. Smith is more of a conservative person who wants to like.
I'm
keep-
not a
keep to himself.
hillbilly. She's a prude person with a stick up her ass.
Of course.
And
but
by prude,
as
do you
can
mean
see-
as if she tends to...
She thinks she's better than everyone. They don't talk to anyone. She thinks they think they're better than us. Why would you move to a certain culture and think that you're better than someone? You move to this culture to assimilate, and they're not assimilating at all. They don't come to any of our barbecues. They don't even speak to us. I haven't even spoken to her ever since this, prior to this altercation.
So Mrs. Anderson, you do understand that Mrs. Smith and her husband are older people, and
That doesn't mean anything.
They
You
have-
still don't need to be rude
of course, but
and threaten my 8-year-old kids.
of course, but they came out to the city, out of the city, to live a quiet life. as you
This
said.
isn't a quiet neighborhood. This is a culture that we're free. We have chickens running around. It's just a nice culture,
Of course,
how
of
it is.
course.
We
But,
have barbecues. Those are quiet. This is not a quiet kick back in the back of the woods neighborhood.
Of course.
This is the outside outskirts of town, therefore it's still loud.
But you do understand that she as how you want her to respect your loud property, as you would describe it, like you should respect her quiet property too.
That's impossible. We were here first. Next.
Do you feel there's a sense of belonging with the neighborhood in terms of where you stand? With
Yes,
the
our
neighbors?
neighborhood is really close knit. We are a family, and we've created this culture based on everyone living together. We're all connected to each other. We go, like I said, the kids. I like the fact that the kids come to my house and interact with my kids because I feel like a mom to all these kids. Like I get to watch them. I have satisfaction in knowing that they're coming to my house to go play.
Right. And there's a good understanding that everyone kind of is there for each other, would you say?
Yes, everyone is there for us, but these random people that moved in not too long ago. Like they're the sore thumb. It's like those things. One of these things are not like the other. They are not like the other. And they just stick out.
So, Ms. Anderson, do you feel that Mrs. Smith and her husband are entitled to having their own personal space and peace in their own home, even if they don't?
Yeah, in their own home before they moved out here. But
So,
since we are so close together, that's out the window. We're gonna do. This is our land too.
so what you're saying is they are not entitled to their quiet, peaceful life in their own homes, at this property.
I mean, I take that back because I'm entitled to not be taking pictures of me on my property, right?
Of course not.
So I guess they're entitled to being quiet, I suppose. But you can always close the window
Of course. Since
for
you said
improved ventilation. I don't know.
since you said that, you can see how her demand for regulated hours or like less people can be more towards her quiet life.
Here's the thing: you cannot regulate someone's own property.
Of course not.
I can accommodate,
Mm-hmm.
but you cannot regulate, and you will not demand, nor will you tell me what to do.
Were there, before this all had escalated, were there any accommodations that you had actually considered prior to the city officials showing up? And
No, it was just 1.5 acres of land. I built the track on a portion of the land in my backyard. There's enough land around this whole neighborhood. Just empty lots, empty things of dirt.
Do you feel there's a possibility that you would be able to at least meet somewhere in the middle in terms of maybe having a few less people? Because I had noticed that in terms of the layout prior to meeting with you, Mrs. Smith had noticed that her home was near one of the main roads. So would you say there's a lot of traffic flow that may come and go?
I guess, but whose fault is that? It's not my fault. It's just neighborhood kids, you know. I'm not gonna back down because you're taking pictures of my family.
Right.
So I'm gonna let them motocross as much as they want. And if you want to keep taking pictures, we'll just rev up the engine louder.
So would you say that if she decided to respect if she decided to stop taping you and decide to respect your privacy, that you would respect her privacy of quietness and peacefulness, and maybe reduce the hours or accommodate to some of the aspects of the motorbiking?
I'm not sure about that. I want them to stop taking pictures of my family.
Of course not, but that would
That's
be
why I
respecting your
filed a
privacy.
civil lawsuit.
But that would be respecting your privacy, right? And you want your privacy.
I'm not taking
respected.
pictures of her family.
Of course not.
I'm taking pictures of her darling little girl, my innocent child. That has nothing to do with the motocross. I'm not doing that. That's her.
But you can understand how you want respect for your privacy.
Yeah, I do want respect for my privacy. Definitely. Or else it'll become a problem.
Right.
Okay. So that's what you want out of her, but what she wants is peacefulness, quietness.
I can't guarantee that. Motorbikes are motorized vehicles.
Of course, but
She can move. That's always an option.
Do
And
you,
have someone that fits our culture move in.
do you feel that safety is a concern for, let's say, your family? especially
Of
your
course.
child?
I feel extremely unsafe.
Mhm.
There's always a camera in my face. Every time I walk outside, even when I'm going grocery shopping, there's a camera in my face. We're not even motocrossing, riding our bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids feel unsafe as well.
Okay.
Like I said, it feels like we're the celebrity and she's the paparazzi.
But before Mrs. Smith left, she did say that she was instructed by the government officials to
For
keep
6
things-
months, that's highly unlikely. She's doing that she's doing that maliciously.
But she did say that the government officials did ask her to keep doing that.
Alright, but not for 6 months.
Uh,
I can see if it was for 2 months, tops. Not for 6 months or 4 months prior after they came. That's half a year that you're taking pictures of my family. If it's not going to be filed, then you should just stop. Clearly, it's not going to be filed anytime soon.
So if we can provide evidence that the government officials did ask her to do that.
They probably did ask her to do that. They didn't tell her to do it for 6 months.
So if we can get evidence that they did ask her to do it for 6 months and continue doing it, would you forgive Mrs. Smith for her actions?
For taking pictures of my family?
But it was asked by government officials, and we would provide evidence for that, of course. It was not her own.
Not for 6 months. I can't fathom it being for 6 months. That's something I'm not going to budge on.
So you're saying the videotaping is fully her action?
Yes, it's fully motivated by maliciousness
So
and malicious activity.
If we prove that it was not her action, it was actually the government asking her to do that.
I'll look into it, but I highly, highly doubt that.
Of course.
For 6 months, come on now.
Mhm.
If it was going to be filed, the city courts can't be that backed up. And they didn't say anything about me putting down my dirt track. So
Right.
she's doing that out of just being an asshole, really.
And by asshole, you mean she's just being
Rude.
Mhm.
She's stuck up. She's rude. She's doing that just to piss me off. And she's violating my privacy. And as she's doing that, I'm filing a suit.
Okay. And this was what type of suit was this? Was this a restraining order?
This is a civil lawsuit.
Civil lawsuit, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So safety seems to be a concern for your family, of course, which we
Definitely.
completely understand. And would you say on Mrs. Smith's side, since she had mentioned that her and her husband were prescribed promethazine for their coughing and for their breathing, do you feel like that's also a sense of safety that needs to be addressed on both sides?
Yeah, like I said, I filed a civil harassment lawsuit because she's harassing me and my family. The whole promethazine, she's from the city. You can get that stuff from other places. It's not just us. Dirt, I don't believe that. Dirt is organic, it is biodegradable, it goes back into the land. Fumes from the city, CO2 emissions, that's likely that she got that from there. So blaming that stuff on us is not a good thing. I don't believe that at all.
So if we can prove from her doctors that it was actually related to the motorbiking and all that, would that
I'll look into it. I'll apologize for that for sure.
Of course. Okay.
That might be
If I'm at fault,
Mhm.
I will apologize. I'm
Okay.
not that type of person like she is.
Well, it's a step closer to you actually, both of you, reaching a middle ground and kind of discussing further matters. I think that's we're showing some type of progress. At least that you're willing. That's always, of course.
Of course, but if she takes one more picture, I don't know what I'll do.
Of course. So is there anything else you would like to tell us?
No, I think that's about
That's
it.
good. I feel like we got a lot off your chest, Mrs. Anderson.
course.
That's great.
That's great.
But if she tries it again, I don't know what I'll do.
Of course.
If you take pictures of my kids, I will be Mama Bear and I'll rip your face off.
We understand your concerns about your children's safety. We really do, and we will make sure that Mrs. Anderson and Mrs. Smith also does too.
All right.
All right.
So, Mrs. Anderson, we're gonna go ahead and have Mrs. Smith come on in, and then we'll get everyone back together shortly. Mrs. Smith, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so now we can get a little backstory on how your living arrangements have been and how it all started. If you don't mind kind of starting from the beginning.
Just recapping.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great. So,
Well, like I said, we retired here. We were
Mhm,
expecting the peace and quiet,
Mhm.
When you think of going to the countryside,
Mhm.
living on the outskirts of town, think nice peace and quiet,
Mhm.
maybe living on a little property a little bit further from your neighbors.
Mhm.
It's always nice.
Right.
No, not here.
Mhm.
No, it wasn't nice. It's just been loud. It's been
Mhm.
obnoxious, and the way that they've been handling it has just been so disrespectful and so inconsiderate. Just not even trying to tone it down a little bit.
Right.
Like instead of just increasing the noise and the usage, it's like they don't even care. It's like they just heard me and just like whew, just right over their head.
How long have you been living here before all the motorbiking had taken place?
Not very long.
That happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You saying that, okay. Right.
Yeah, I would say it happened pretty quickly.
Right.
I will say, as soon as we moved in, we felt like we were outsiders.
Almost
like,
immediately?
Just immediately.
Right.
Like, they have all their little parties, and like, you know, where we're from, you go up and you like, welcome your neighbor to town, or like, you're to like, to the neighborhood. And here it's just like, they haven't tried to contact us or anything. Like, I guess we haven't tried to contact them either, but being the outsiders, we felt like we should, I don't know.
You feel they should kind of make
kind of make us feel a little bit more welcome. But
Right,
this has just been the exact opposite of pleasant and welcoming. And it's just, we don't feel like we belong in this community, this neighborhood.
I see.
So.
I feel like that's an issue that should definitely be addressed between both you and Mrs. Anderson. I feel that she feels that you and your husband are reluctant to kind of reach out and involve yourself with the community, and you feel that none of them have actually reached out to you. If you both had addressed that, do you think that's something that you would at least be able to get past?
Sounds like she's pretty stubborn, so I don't know what would happen.
Okay.
You could probably tell her that, and she'd be like, well, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we could try, but...
I think it's worth a shot. I think that might be an initial step in terms of being able to address other issues.
There's definitely a difference in cultural values and a lack of communication, which is causing all of this.
I think so. Coming from the city and whatnot, I'm sure it's a very different life.
Exactly. Yeah, very different life.
Worked 40 years, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, 40
Yeah,
plus.
it's a very long time, so you want to just retire.
Just want to relax, exactly. The city is there's less dirt in the city.
I can imagine.
It's been affecting our health so much.
It's a combination, is it, of the dust and fumes?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
all of it, of course. It's been ridiculous. We had to purchase a pressure washer just to maintain the exterior of our houses, our house and our cars. It's been ridiculous. And promethazine, that's never been an issue for us before.
It's never been an issue. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She just thinks that it's from the city, from living in the city, and this has never been an issue.
So about the promethazine, did your doctor prescribed you for what kind of conditions? Can you explain that?
For fumes, for the dirt, the dust, the extra surrounding our house. We spend a lot of time at home. Like that's where we live. It's what we do.
So it is directly caused by the dirt.
It is directly.
And your doctor said so. Okay.
I can go get a note even.
Of course.
Right.
And another thing I would like you to expand on. So, Mrs. Anderson complained about the videotaping of her kids, or her.
I was just doing what I was told. I figured because someone in the law was telling me to do this, it should just be okay. Maybe I should have said, "Hey, just so you know, I'm going to be taking photos." But I figured that probably wouldn't have gone over very well, since the first phone call didn't go over very well. So why would I try to reach out again? Like I'm just going to listen to the county officials and take the photos. I was on my side of the property. I wasn't in her face. I wasn't in her children's face. I wasn't taking pictures of her children. I was taking pictures of the track where her children are. So yeah, of course. And she doesn't even watch them half the time. Like they're just out there. Like it makes me nervous for their safety. Like if one of them falls, like that's it. That's an extreme sport. So one day I told him to be careful, and I think she saw that and thought it was a little weird, but I'm just standing by that. I think safety is a huge issue. That's why I follow rules, regulations. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I'm sick of having to be prescribed promethazine.
That's definitely another part of safety. That's there. So I think safety is a very huge deal for both of you.
So you were concerned for her children's safety.
Yeah, of course.
Genuinely concerned
Of
about
course.
it.
Yeah.
So can you please expand on what the government officials said to you about recording? Because Mrs. Anderson here said that you went on recording for 6 months. Did they actually tell you to keep on recording?
They told me even after they went and found that there were no violations, they said just continue to document is what they said. Continue to document what you think is a violation.
So you can see how that could be a little bit of invasion of privacy.
I mean, I guess, but because somebody above the both of us was telling me to do it.
Of course,
Mm-hmm.
of course, and there's actually like a proof to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of course.
That's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't just take photo. That sounds weird. But I would just take photo just for my own
Mhm.
viewing. It
Right.
sounds strange,
Right.
right?
Mrs. Anderson did mention that voodoo purposes.
Yes, that's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous. I don't even understand like where that came from. That must
Mhm.
just be like
Mhm.
anger. She just said that out of anger.
I
It's
feel,
okay.
I feel there's a lot of
Yeah,
understanding
there's a lot
and
of
consideration. Yeah.
Tension.
Yes.
There.
Mhm.
I don't know. I should just. It's terrifying. It's ridiculous. Like how much like it just increased.
Right.
Like it's just gotten worse. She's even come over to my mail. I can't even go to my mailbox
Oh, is that
because
right?
she just stands there and just stares at my house.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's trying to get me back for taking photos of her
Mhm.
track or
Mhm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to move my mailbox from one side of the yard to the other
Mhm.
just so that I could finally go out and get my mail.
I see.
Isn't that ridiculous?
And did you feel safety was an issue there in terms of being able to be on your own
Just like-
property?
I guess unsafe, sort of,
Mhm,
just
mhm,
like just
mhm.
not comfortable in my own home.
Right.
Just like why does it have to be like that?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
What steps would you be willing to take in terms of trying to get this resolved? I'm sure both of you.
I
A
like
lot
I
of
like the initial phone call. If we
Mhm.
could just like
Mhm.
figure out specific days, times,
Mhm.
hours, just not 24 hours. That's ridiculous.
Mhm. Mhm.
24-hour usage of the track. Like,
Yeah, it escalates to about
Yeah.
7 days a week. Is
yeah,
that
7
what it
days
was?
a week, exactly.
Right.
Like every single day,
Mhm.
day and night. It's like it's just there's children everywhere, teenagers everywhere, trash everywhere, and it's always loud.
Mhm.
If it was just for like a few hours of the day, like practice time,
That
you
would be
know.
understandable.
Yeah, of course, and they can
Mhm.
handle that because
Mhm.
that's me being a good neighbor. Like
Right.
they can have their track, and as long as they do it respectfully.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it shouldn't be there.
Right.
That's it.
If it doesn't improve in terms of the loudness and the motor tracks, what steps would you have to take? in
We're
terms
thinking
of-
about moving.
about moving. Though.
Like
Okay.
it's gotten that bad where we
Mhm.
just want to move somewhere else. But
Mhm.
it's actually I don't know if it would even work because
Mhm.
we'd have to disclose this information
Mhm.
to potential buyers, and that's not likely that they'll want to live there
Mhm.
if that's the case.
So it's difficult trying
For us to
find
even sell the
somebody
house,
else.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Mhm.
So we could even not solve this problem here,
Mhm.
and I'd have to be selling my house for years, and I'd probably never even move.
Mhm.
Nothing would change. I would just
Mhm.
be stuck there trying to sell a house.
Mhm.
So that's what I would have to do, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
Were there any other concerns that you would like to share with us?
No, I just feel disrespected, and
Mhm.
I feel unsafe.
Mhm.
My health is at hand here. Our health is at hand.
Mhm.
Her children's safety. You'd think that would be enough, like to get rules like
Right.
sort of set in place, like
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
letting your kids just run amok. It's ridiculous.
So regardless of them being loud and doing motorbike, you generally cared for the safety of her children.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's something I'm sure that she would have no issues with, that you actually do worry about
I
that.
hope so.
So, can we share this information with Mrs. Anderson when she comes in?
If you think that it's gonna help,
Of course.
Mhm.
Alright, so
Okay.
with this, we'd like to invite Mrs. Anderson back.
Okay, we'll go get Mrs. Anderson back. I'll go ahead and get her going.
That took longer than I thought.
Mrs. Anderson, so we would like to share a few information with you from we have discovered from Mrs. Smith. So it turns out she actually does have evidence saying the city told her to keep on recording for 6 months. So it was not her fault. I mean, it was not her actions. It's what the city instructed, and she was simply following the city's instructions. And we had evidence to prove that.
Okay.
And secondly, the promethazine. We also have evidence saying that the promethazine was prescribed against the fumes and the dirt. And you don't necessarily get that much dirt in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and more dirt out in the countryside. So it was prescribed for that purpose, and we have evidence for that. And as for your as for her threats against the children, what she actually said, did you actually hear her say that straight
No,
to
my
you?
son told me what she
Well,
said.
you know
my
how
son
children-
doesn't lie.
You know how children can be.
He wouldn't fabricate something like
Of course
that.
not.
Well, then he
wouldn't
misunderstood what I
fabricate.
said.
Are you trying to
So-
say he's stupid because we're hillbilly?
I'm
Miss-
saying he didn't
Miss
hear me over
Smith.
good sound.
Mrs. Smith, let me reframe what you said, alright? So what Mrs. Smith meant to say, or did say, was, please be careful. She was concerned for your children's safety. As a older person, she could see that she sees dirt biking as a dangerous sport, and she was concerned for your children's safety,
Okay.
of course.
So there's a lot of misunderstanding between the both of you.
And miscommunication, and also the difference in cultures. And as you can see, Mrs. Smith moved out here after many years of working hard. She tried to move into a quieter neighborhood, of course. And you
What a sad
understand that,
story.
right? You understand that.
Yeah, sure. But did she do research and show that this is not a quiet neighborhood?
It used to be.
There's kids, so they couldn't be quiet.
There were no dirt bikes. Or kids, that's fine. But dirt bikes is a whole other story.
But we do understand that how Mrs. Smith wants the respect for the privacy of her property. And also, Mrs. Anderson, you also want the respect for the privacy of your property. We have proven that she was not trying to videotape you on purpose, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Anderson here, would she would like you also to know that what you said to her children came out from her children to her as threats. As in,
Not at all what I intended.
It sounded more
At all.
something like it would be sad if something happened to you.
I'm not a creep. That's probably why you think I'm into voodoo. That's ridiculous. No.
But of course, you see how her culture and her communities, everyone is open with each other, everyone talks to each other, and you came in, and you were closed, which is not your fault at all. And you were closed, which made her think other things, such as the voodoo and other things, and it only made her think of bad things. So with that, would it be reasonable for you to participate more in the community?
Yeah.
So
if
there
I
can
feel
be a better
welcome
communication, and you guys can get along better.
And the thing is, when you first moved, you felt that no one had reached out to you?
Exactly.
Is that right?
I didn't feel welcome,
Okay.
or else I would have participated.
Mhm.
But there was no reaching hand. There was no invite. How am I supposed to know when barbecues are?
So how about this? All right.
We've invited you. We've invited her before.
Of course. But after this, she's more aware of it.
I don't know after this. After
So-
this, you may just be exiled.
So what you're saying is, if she participated in the community more and communicated with you more, that would be reasonable enough. That would be a reason enough for you to at least decrease the hours during weekends and night times.
If she
of
just
the BMX
forgets
bike.
all about the dirt bikes in the track, then I'll be happy. We just forget about it. Like the city forgot about it. Why aren't you forgetting about it?
because she wants some peace and quiet in her home. You know?
Ms. Anderson, would you agree that if health becomes more of an issue, at least for Mrs. Anderson and her husband, since there's a huge age gap between the both of you, so as they're approaching older age, you feel that they're more susceptible to certain health risks?
Of course, just like young kids are more susceptible to diseases.
Mm-hmm.
My kids aren't getting prescribed promethazine.
Their immune systems are obviously better than mine.
Well,
We need some vitamins. I don't know.
and also on weekends and night times when Mrs. Smith and her older husband would be sleeping, would you agree to at least reduce some of the bikes during those times?
That's the prime time.
That's
my
reasonable.
kids are in school Monday through Friday, so the weekend is when.
So how about they only do it on the weekends then?
How about no night
If they do it on the
times?
weekends, they won't become pro. And I'm really a firm believer that my kids
Then
can
go to a
pro.
professional track somewhere else.
It's better to have it home so
Their
I can
track
watch
isn't
them.
that good. It could be better.
There she goes. There she
Fun
goes
thing.
trying me. I'm gonna hop over this table.
But you do understand the concerns, but you guys can agree on the track times.
No, I don't agree on the track times. No.
So obviously,
If she, like I said, just forget about it. Like, it's just a track. Okay, there's noises. I can stop at nighttime when it gets dark. Sure, I'll stop. But daytime,
Okay, so nighttime you'd be
yeah,
willing
nighttime.
to.
That's a start.
Yeah, that's a start. Fine.
How about night times only? No, none at nighttime, and like during daytime is alright.
but there's a difference. When is considered nighttime? Because daylight savings time,
Oh my
it's
god.
still light
Dinner
outside.
time.
When do you have dinner? Because we have supper at a certain time. I don't know when you guys have dinner. Maybe
Well, if
10.
you want to get specific.
Yeah, we're gonna. Because I feel like it's gonna have to get to the specifics.
Well, that is why we are saying that Mrs. Smith here should cooperate with the neighbors more, come out to their barbecues, so you would know all this stuff, like when her dinner is, when she
Trying to
sleeps,
compromise here.
and all that.
And also, and Ms. Smith, would you be considering of stopping the documentations, of videotaping?
Yes, of
photography,
course.
right?
Because it's not working.
Well,
You're
obviously.
just wasting camera
I
time.
got that.
Thank you.
And maybe you guys can, maybe we can work out a schedule of the bikes.
I can say after 7:30 we'll stop. That's possible. I mean,
Of course.
That's fine.
Alright, so, and Mrs. Smith, you agreed to participate in the community more, get to know
Yes.
everyone,
Yes.
of course. And Mrs. Anderson, you agreed to invite out Mrs. Smith more into your barbecues, be more welcoming. Because she did move into the community just now. She wasn't here 15 years like you. She's the new kid in the community.
and
So
she
she
hasn't
would like
said
to
hi.
feel
We
a
haven't
sense of
really
belonging.
spoken.
Of course, but her culture, from her
Weird. It's
culture,
like, why
she's
did I get? Why did I get cursed with the weird neighbor?
See? Not
Yes.
welcoming.
Mrs. Anderson.
Why would I want to go to the barbecues now?
You don't have to.
Yes, apparently I do.
Well, we do agree that no dirt biking will be there after 7:30, right?
So does that mean I still have to go to the group barbecues?
We don't want you at our damn group barbecue.
Well, all right. So here it
Looks
is.
like I'm selling my house.
Okay, well,
Well, I mean, we can't force you.
We can
We can't force you to.
yeah, but we did agree on no dirt biking after 7:30.
It's a start. I
It's
feel
a
like
start.
That's a start.
It's a start. And as for the barbecue, you don't have to be in part of the
She's just
community
gonna be
if
an
you don't
outsider
want
for
to.
the rest of her life. That's fine with me.
We can't force anybody to do anything or engage in any activities that you
Yes,
are going to
but
feel
we
full-hearted.
did reach a middle solution on the dirt biking, but we can't force you to participate in the community or invite her out to participate in your community if you don't want to. But can we agree for now that the dirt biking problem is both agreeable? I mean, the solution is both agreeable by you two.
Yes.
Would you both say that you could trust each other to not be on each other's property, whether it's
No.
Yes.
documentation?
I can't
Respect each
trust
other's
her.
privacy.
Right.
I
Well-
can't trust her as far as I can throw her.
But-
I've never even been on your property.
But
I stand right at my line.
yeah,
Every
but
time.
The documentation was from the government officials, instructions only.
You keep saying that as the fact that I care, and I don't. Because
But
she's still taking pictures.
It looks like we're obviously not getting anywhere. The dirt bike's at the start, but that's about it.
Like I
I'm
said,
still not
7:30.
So,
But can we at least agree to respect each other's property and stop documenting and
I'm
stuff?
not documenting. You should
I will
address
stop.
that to
I
her.
will stop. If you're going to stop riding past 7:30, then yeah, I'll stop.
Alright, looks like we have reached a solution.
And also, Mrs. Anderson, the whole lawsuit type deal, is that something you'd be willing to do?
Oh, he's still getting a harassment lawsuit.
Harassment lawsuit.
Because I have been harassed.
Right back at you.
But there's evidence that shows that if you
That's not
go
harassment.
if you go to court, she could bring up that evidence which shows that
Then
was not
let's
harassment.
do it.
Looks like we're going
Looks
to court.
like
Going
we
to
are
court.
going to court.
Contact Judge Judy. I have it.
Alright,
It's a people's court.
Okay,
All right.
debrief.
debrief.
Debrief time?
Uh,
Um,
All right. That was a journey then.
Yeah.
That was.
I think
You were just like not budging the whole time. You were like, nope. Nope.
I
There's literally like nothing I could do.
I
Like
had
if
to
she didn't
say-
budge about anything, I couldn't sell my house.
Yeah.
The county isn't on my side.
Right?
Like she's not stopping the dirt bikes.
You're not.
I would be screwed for life.
You're never
Like,
winning.
Yeah, I was
It's
never
a
win.
lose situation.
maybe
Exactly.
we should have chased a different solution, like
what?
finding someone who will buy your house or something.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
we try to go for like the.
Find
I
a
don't
friend
even
of
think we
yours
had
to
to.
move
I
in
don't
next
even think we
door.
had to come up with a solution.
I think it's just kind of addressing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just get it all out.
Yeah.
Just
I couldn't think of anything. So I was like, what else can we address right now?
I know, right? I noticed, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what
I
else
think,
can you go
yeah.
for? Yeah.
I think we didn't handle the first part as well as we should have because they
Yeah, I know.
I know, at one point you guys just kind of stopped and like let us, so we're just like yelling over each other.
We were like caucus.
Alright, okay.
But
It's time to split up.
after the caucus,
Flip the
you
table.
guys were definitely calmer, so that was good.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
got it out there, and I think we did a right job reframing each other to like both of you, but it didn't work. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, I noticed the reframing was
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, definitely. When you talked about the sense of belonging, like she doesn't feel welcome
Yeah.
there, that was just like, no. It's like you open up a floodgate.
Yeah.
Oh, I can appeal to that.
And you didn't.
I could have.
You could have.
I like
That's
that
okay.
was probably the biggest step to get past, saying that she didn't feel welcome. You didn't feel like she didn't reach out, and it's like, or both. of you.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just miscommunication.
Yeah. It's like
That's
it takes
basically
two
what
to
it is.
tango.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was hard to
Take
like
people alone.
let you
It's
know that like, she wasn't lying.
She's a liar. You
You
liar.
hung us on a liar.
We fought evidence.
There's evidence.
There's evidence. I know you kept saying there's evidence.
I was like, I don't care.
Well, I mean, there was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I did
that
my
was
best.
gonna do what the hell she was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Well, is there anything we could
Maybe
improve
next
on?
time I won't be as rude.
That's right.
As what?
That's rude. I'll chill out.
I mean, part of the role.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
What do you
Anything
improve
we can
on?
improve,
Yeah.
What you can improve on from you two.
Like I said,
From,
like
like, the acting
Dylan said on the mediation side, like when we're arguing, when there's poison, because I feel like we spit a lot of poison to each other.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot
Kind
of
of
stuff
have to
that's like went
Put your
away.
foot down.
Yeah, you gotta like refrain that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's so much,
But
I know, well,
it's
there's
too
so
fast
much.
that we
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
do it,
exactly.
yeah.
I know. I feel like if I was a real mediator jumping in there, I'd be like, so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be on their side, but it's hard to like
Cut
raise
them
your
off
voice
and
to
then-
somebody.
right. So
And
Yeah.
be like, but I'm still on your side. You know?
Yeah, I was
It's
like,
yeah.
It was like a
You're not on my
respectful way
side.
to do it, and like a, you know.
Like Mrs. Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they'd be like, but I still love you.
yeah, I was like, I'm still
We're
a
still on the
Sidebar.
same
I'm
side.
still a third party.
Yeah,
Sidebar?
yeah, exactly.
You're out of order.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Every time when you speak, you're just like, so
Okay, so.
we're gonna do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So how's that
Do
make
that.
That's how you start laughing.
You do.
Oh my gosh.
I can't run up there. I gotta get professional.
Right? You're
When she
fucking
found
Obama.
out like the white coffee and the pepper.
Oh,
I know, I was like,
She
take my coffee and go.
She got personal on
I
that.
know, exactly. The
Personal
personal
attack.
attack.
Yeah, that was like real poison.
I was like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
That was good though.
Yeah, we didn't laugh this time,
That
so
was
that's
a-
good.
that was a-
Yeah, I've definitely
Didn't laugh
like
as
we're
much.
improving via
Yeah.
mediations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I smiled. I don't know.
Yeah.
Evidence.
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 We have evidence. I was like, where?
I didn't
Yeah,
want
I
It's
was
just the damn evidence. Yeah, she like had a paper
That's
like,
funny.
it's the evidence.
Yeah.
Here's this evidence.
Yeah, so
It's
this, yeah,
just-
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel like we were ganging up because we were talking about her. You know, the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of like, Mrs. Anderson.
Yeah.
How do
Tell
you
me more.
feel?
Yeah,
So
tell me
really
more.
more. Yeah, exactly. Anything else?
That's it. Yeah.
Get ready for class.
Yeah.